evening, ladies and gentlemen of the great Bahamaland, and all you out there who are tuning in.
Yes.
Who are not fortunate enough to be in this great Bahamas, Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I send some sun, and sea towards you in spirit. But welcome to Let's Talk.
Yes.
And here at Let's Talk, we like to talk about issues that matter to you, where we try to come up with workable and practical solutions so we have more action and less talk. I'm your host, Jason, with my co-host,
Still Cheryl.
One of these days that get changed. It was just Cheryl one time. I don't know what happened.
It's still Cheryl.
It's still Cheryl. But anyway, yeah. So thank you all for joining us this evening. We're glad to have you here with us on this beautiful Tuesday evening. Tonight, our topic is on prenup. It's marriages. Prenups. This is before the marriage. Do you believe in prenup? Yes or no? And then why? Cheryl, no, I ain't gonna ask you yet. So basically what a prenup is an agreement between the two parties.
Legal agreement.
Legal agreement, a legal contract. Let me read it. A prenuptial agreement or prenup is a written agreement made by persons who are engaged to be married in the near future. This type of agreement is used to document the intention of the parties as to the division of assets and finances in the event of divorce, and is executed prior to the parties becoming married. So it's basically just a contract written up between the two parties to say, hey, what's going to happen in the event we divorce?
Divorce, yes.
Now, a lot of people view, when they hear prenup, they just automatically think prenup means you ain't gonna get nothing. Whatever you come with, you can leave with.
Right.
So when you ask the question, do you believe in prenup? A lot of people just automatically reject it.
Right.
They reject it. And for the most part, I did, I like to throw out my little question and get my little feedback. And I got a lot of responses. 15 says yes.
They believe in it.
They believe in it.
Okay. Or
And
those
out
male
of
or
that
female?
15, I was trying to get the numbers, but out of the 15, 12 were men and 3 were women that said yes. No, it was 11 men
11 men.
and 4 women that said yes. And then you had 10 no's, and it was 50-50. 5 men, 5 women said no.
Okay.
And then 4 maybes. All were like more depending.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I believe that, but a lot of those persons who, are they married and do they have prenups? Because when I looked at the statistics online too, it says, 50% of persons believe in prenups, but only 10% actually do it.
Wow.
So while a lot of persons believe in it, not a lot of persons actually do it. And I guess maybe the belief is there, but maybe they don't feel they have enough assets, or their assets are not in a threat. No, they're not. Their assets are not threatened to that effect, where they feel that, or it could be also that maybe while they believe in prenup, the sanctity of marriage is more important than that belief, in terms of they wouldn't put the other person through that. But go ahead. I sense you want to say something.
I want to ask you, but is it unbiblical to want or to even engage in a prenup?
I wouldn't say it's unbiblical, because I've never seen anything in the Bible that says yay or nay. I just feel that marriage is honorable. But if you are, and that's what the Bible says, that marriage is honorable. So if you are going to create a legal document that says that, just in case we get a divorce, this is what I'd like to do with my assets, I think that's dishonorable towards marriage. So that's just my opinion, and you can shoot me for it. I will stand on it. So that's basically how I feel. I don't have enough assets for it to be threatened, so maybe I'm not in the best position to speak. So and he who feels it knows it, Jason.
Yes.
And that's what I'd also like to say. The persons who have been burnt by this, by being in marriages with selfish persons, and they have been robbed, and another thing too, because the laws are so much in favor of females. I do understand why persons would want to protect themselves because sadly, while marriage is honorable, a lot of persons don't enter the sanctity of marriage because they are in love or because they're looking out for the other party or with the intent that I'm in it for the long haul. They do go into it with a just in case, I want to make sure that I leave with whatever it is that I need. And so because there is that, then people find the need to protect themselves, and I have no problem with accepting that.
Right. And like you said, he who feels it knows it. There are many who thought they had nothing to take away, so I don't need a prenup.
Right.
Until divorce day comes, and people gunning for the little that they do have. And they're
Right.
like, my God, I really wish I engaged in a prenup because
That's
this
true.
isn't fair. They're trying to take the little that I do have. And that's when it becomes clear, I really should have gotten a prenup
True.
for my $2.
Right.
Because now they're
That's
trying to
true.
take the $2.
And you end up with 50 cents or nothing.
Exactly. The men,
Yes.
and like you said, the laws favor the female. So the man now ends up with 50 cents out of his $2
Right.
because the courts feel she's the weaker. And for whatever reason, a man steps into court having to defend himself. The female is automatically assumed the
Right.
victim, automatically. And I shouldn't say 9 times out of 10, that's too high. 6 times out of 10, she is the aggressor. Because statistics
have-
are shown,
really?
statistics are shown,
Let me hear
Cheryl,
this.
that
Statistics.
70% of women pursue divorce.
Right.
Yeah, so it's 7
But
out
it
of 10.
doesn't say.
It's 7 out of 10.
But you say six out of 10 times they are.
the not the victor. I mean, not the victim. Yeah, they're the one, the aggressor.
They're the villains.
They're the villains.
Well, I mean,
because
just
like
because
I said,
someone asks for a
70%.
divorce doesn't mean that they're not the victim, though. I mean,
See-
it's hard. It's hard to say because some persons who ask for a divorce, they have cause to. People have been
That's
abused.
true.
People
That's
have
true.
had
But-
different situations. We don't know how much out of that percentage have been in terms of been the one who
Very true.
caused
Very
the
true.
marriage. So we
But
don't
very
know.
true. But statistics have shown that men stick through the tough times while women decide to get out. 70%. Now, who's to say creating the tough times? They haven't done a statistic on that yet. But again, it would be assumed that the men create the tough time. That's why 70% of the
can't
women leave.
yeah, you
That's
can't
what they
assume
assume.
that. No,
That's
I mean, you
sure.
can't assume
In
that.
fact, they have it where no fault divorces now. And it hasn't reached our shores as
No.
yet, but I'm sure it's going to get here. Because
Well,
whatever
in
the
100
U.S.
years,
does,
we're always behind,
whatever
way
the U.S.
behind.
does, we feel we got to follow suit. So they have many states in the U.S. where there are no fault divorce, which means for whatever reason the person feels they want an out of the marriage, they get it. And they don't have to
They
explain.
don't have to have cause.
They don't have any cause. And when you look at it, a lot of these divorces, the women now have entitlement to half of the assets. Now, we could go into the argument and saying that she's entitled because she helped build it. Plenty of times they meet those guys with those things. You go on, you follow social media. You see these ladies marry these entertainers, guys with wealth. And then you hear when divorce time, she's getting half.
Right.
And I'm like, what entitles her to half of this man's wealth when she met him in it? She met him with it. But we jumping ahead.
Right.
Guys, we would love for you to be a part of this conversation.
Yes.
So please join us, 352-8255. Please give us a call or drop a comment in the
Comment,
chat and
yes.
we'll read it live.
Definitely.
We always welcome that. The chat keep us on our toes. So we happy to have you all here, and we just thank you all for always keeping the comments lively.
Yes.
I was going to start calling names, but I ain't going to do it. I get myself into problems. So back onto this prenup. Yes or no? Why you believe it?
So, do you believe in prenups?
I
Jason?
do.
What do you?
I do
yes.
support it because given the climate of today
Right.
and in witnessing a lot of my brothers, I shouldn't say my brothers because they're my brothers, a lot of men, fellow men, coming
It's
out
a
at the
brotherhood.
bottom when you look at how it all played out, like especially here in the Bahamas, it's always assumed that the guy's at fault. It's always assumed that it's the man's fault, and it's our court systems. You already said it earlier, favor the females. So therefore, I don't blame, especially when I look at today's social climate. I don't blame these fellas, these men, for protecting what they built before they get engaged to these ladies.
So do you believe then that at the end of a marriage, everyone should leave with whatever they brought in?
Leave with what you brought in and split up what y'all built.
Okay.
That
would be
that's
fair.
that's
except
my
we don't live in an ideal world.
Yeah, right. See, I believe in fairness.
Right.
I even saw I watched a clip of a guy who got half of the woman's wealth.
Yes.
That was crazy,
that
right?
happens,
I laugh, and the guy said, "Yeah, we can take this W. We can win. We can take this one." You know?
Yes, because like I was saying earlier, Jason, you have more women asking for prenup agreements than men. And I was really surprised by that because I thought usually we expect men to have the wealth. And so, it stated because these women would ask for these prenups to protect wealth or assets they would have gained from maybe previous marriages, or to protect their children, things that were left to their children would have inherited. So they request a prenup from a relationship that they're getting into.
Cheryl, sorry, go ahead. Continue. Finish your thought.
Yeah, so like I said, that was surprising, but I do believe that a lot of men, even though they believe in prenup and would want, a lot of men don't ask for prenups. When you look at the percentage of persons who ask for prenups, it means that a lot more persons who could have really don't.
See, and that's what I was going to say. A lot more women ask for it, and that causes me to think and ponder. Why? Why? Because women know what they know what other women do, right? And so they think, hold on, let me protect myself in case the man is thinking like women. That's why I feel more women are asking for it. I'm not surprised at it. I mean, I was surprised at the statistic.
That more women are
that
asking.
more women ask for it. But after I thought about it, I know why. See, the men, we are the romantic ones. We are the ones who probably think we are the ones who would emphatically say we would die for our women. We are the ones who pursue and woo the women, and we all just receive it. You know, not just, but I shouldn't trivialize it like that. But
thank you.
Right? Sorry, forgive me. But we are the romantic ones, right? So we believe in death to us, till death do us part. We believe in that. So we don't go into it thinking, let me get her to sign this because this might scare off. I don't want to offend her, blah, blah, blah. She's not going to do that to me. The women ain't checking for that. I can protect my money.
Well, you see, usually, who asks for the hand in marriage?
Men.
Right.
Ask for the woman's hand in marriage.
And I think that's a part of that's a part of the reasoning too, because usually men come bearing their souls. Would you marry me? Now, how do you say, would you marry me, but I need you to sign this, because I need to protect my assets from you.
See, now,
so that may be one of the reasons why men don't ask, because it is in poor taste. Why more men, let me say, because men do ask. But,
yes.
Why it is in poor taste. But like we said before, though, a prenup doesn't mean that you don't get anything once the marriage, if the marriage ends. Right. It just means that I decide what you get.
Right, and
which is a sensible thing.
Right, but you said it's in poor taste. But again, majority of women are asking the men for it, so they don't care about taste.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is followed by that question. Because women are the ones who ask. So women already feel that, okay, you ask me to marry you. Let me slip this inside here. You can marry you, but you ain't gonna get. This is off the table. When you marry, you got to bring your own stuff, and this my stuff, and I can keep this over here. This ain't part of our marriage. Because men, even though like you said, I wouldn't say romantic. Men are more romantic. I would say men are the sacrificial ones, and they're the ones who give up more, I suppose. So because usually, where you decide to live, a lot of times the man allows the woman to determine that. So men would appear to be then more considerate in these
A
situations?
pair? It is. You're saying it right. You don't have to say a
You
pair.
can
you can
say
take a pair.
I
over
can
there.
say whatever I want.
You can take a pair. over there.
I'm not going to take a pair. But I think we have to go to a commercial break. I'll tell Jason off just after the break. We'll be right back to talk more about prenups.
Yo, what's up, Bahamas? My name is Andrew Williams, aka Cat,
And I'm your boy Mix.
and we're representing Off the Bench, the number one talk sportcast in the Bahamas.
In the world, my boy.
My bad partner. So
Yeah.
we cover anything sports throughout the Bahamas. We cover our Bahamian athletes wherever they are, and they're making waves in sports. We cover them.
Hey, just tune in to us every Wednesday here on Superior Talk at 6 o'clock p.m.
The number one talk show
in the world.
in the world.
The world, Craig.
So we're back and we're talking about prenups, and as a commenter told me, had to correct me, said, no, the courts don't favor the women how they used to. So sound like we're getting
Good.
more, we're
Yes.
getting more balance.
Some
And thank
retribution for
God.
men. Yes,
Thank you.
I'm for that. Priska says, nice shirts. Why, thank you, Priska. It was Jason's idea.
Really? I thought it was the producer. Darrell says, I agree, Sherry. It's the conversation that is untoward the true purpose of marriage.
Yes.
Really? Mm-hmm. Priska,
Priska says, I believe in prenups. Of course.
Priska, we agree, Priska. Oh, wow. I got to go check the sky out there.
Women these days are paying spousal support too.
Yes, not much.
Yes.
Darrell says, starting marriage with what if? Basically, y'all don't need to be here. I mean, if that's, the conversation can go other ways. But I agree. It depends on how you bring it up. You have to have tact. Because
Of
if a woman
course.
could do it, why can't a man say it? But then again, we are men. Patrick says, back in the Bible, this divorce was so real and really wasn't a thing. On women, women had to say
Had no say.
Women had no say, so there was no need for
it.
any legal paperwork.
Absolutely. That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
And Priska is saying the law is the law. The majority of lawmakers are men. They have the power to change such laws. Well, lawmakers are all of us now. P.S. Jason, not everything I say is my personal experience, okay? I think that's a that's a comeback from the last show.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I co-sign that.
Yeah. Patrick says, man may make the laws, but the system of laws is designed to protect women and children. Exactly.
absolutely true.
Yes, it is.
And this is also I just want to say that this is mostly in the Western culture, because in the Eastern culture, and I should have looked that up to see about prenups and the percentage of prenups there. I bet
I don't even think that's
not
a thing.
exactly.
That's not even a thing.
I'd like to believe that.
Because their divorce rates aren't even high. And all
Exactly.
that. So we're talking us Westerners.
Ariel says, I believe prenups should be mandatory depending on the circumstances and the income disparity between the couple. And if they last, then that's great. If not, then it's fair.
I always liked Ariel, I always knew she was a bright light
Wonder where
bulb
she
in
got it
somebody's
from.
house.
You know what? I'll read the comment. Priska says, I do feel like divorce proceedings should be fair. I don't think a woman should take half of a man's money just because when she came to the marriage empty-handed. And I agree 100%. And I think that's the one thing I can agree with Jason on when he said, take what you brought and divide what you built together. And I think that's the most fair thing.
Yes. The laws need to be updated, Jay John says, to a more level playing field. And I've been lobbying for that for years. As one who's been to courts, witnessed proceedings, been a part of some proceedings, it's totally unfair to men. I haven't been in a little while, so they may have changed something, but I know back in my day when I had to go into court, men were always automatically in the guilty. They always had to prove their innocence.
But a lot of these laws, they've been on the books from women either were not working or could not get any good jobs.
Right.
So a lot of these, and I think the laws have to be changed to move with the times. We have moved so far to surpass what's on our law books these days. It says here, however, I don't think a woman should walk away with nothing either. It should be fair. That's what Priska said.
Yes. Patrick says the best way to have a fair separation of things is to do it while you're still inside a happy and committed situation, not when you're already upset. Now that's a question. I don't know how you can have that conversation,
Exactly.
Patrick.
If
Me
you're
and you are happy together, and I
we
can say,
don't have those
so just in
conversations when
case,
we're happy,
just
yes.
in case we have a divorce, how we can split up what we got?
Yeah.
Oh, you trying to
no.
cause
Happy
it to
people
lead
don't
to
have those
divorce?
conversations.
No.
Yes.
Jay John says men go into marriage until death do part. Women usually are until
Things get rough.
yeah. Yes.
That is you cannot generalize like that. Jay John,
Why?
you cannot
Why?
generalize that not many women feel that way.
didn't
Not
say all,
all
you know.
women not all women
We didn't
feel
say
that
all.
way. You have a lot of women who say till death do us part.
Yeah. Cheryl,
Because 70% of women seek divorce. They are the ones to initiate a divorce. There are the other 30% of men who do. And while that's a big difference in percentages, we're not going to sit here and say men don't get divorces. A lot of men get divorces as well.
That's
Initiate
a big
divorces.
difference between 70 and 30. That's a huge difference, Cheryl.
It doesn't matter. I'm not saying that. I don't know why you are repeating what I said. I
Yeah,
literally
you said a lot.
I said it was a big difference, but 30% of men initiate
Yes.
divorce as well.
Yes.
So we do have some men out there
Yes.
who want to break it up when things get rough as well.
Yes, that
Right.
goes without saying. Because if you say 70%, automatically the other 30% is men.
I don't
That goes
care
without
what-
saying. You just had to say it, eh?
You say a
just
lot
had
of
to
things
say
that
it.
go without saying,
See,
Jason. So forgive me.
She just had to say it.
Forgive
Men do
me
it too.
if
Men
I'm
do it
taking
too.
this
It's not
opportunity.
just women. But yeah.
Anyway, I said that because of Jay John's comment.
Okay, I got
So it
you.
was worth saying.
Is it? That's up for debate. Guys, we love to hear your voices. We don't just hear Cheryl and I all night. So give us a call, 352-8255, 352-8255. Prenups. Cheryl, I want to stick this inside and I want your thought.
Do you really?
I do. And
Usually
maybe
ask
it's
for it, but you
just
can't take
yeah,
it. But
no,
anyway,
I
let's
could
go.
take it. It's usually
Let's
when I ask you for it, I
pretend that
just
you
want
actually
the
want it.
I want the audience to hear it, not me. You know, because I can.
Why'd you just ask
but
the
anyway,
audience then?
so a lot of women you hear, girl, married women, girl, put something aside, cause you never know. You don't want this man just up and leave you.
Oh, boy.
You don't want this man just, you gotta have something. Put something aside. How do you view that?
I don't agree with it. It's not just to put something aside. I hear that don't let him know what you have.
That's what I mean, right?
Yes, don't let him know what you have. I hear that. I hear that often. I understand why people do it. People have been burnt in relationships. I have been burnt in relationships. And so when it comes to finances, it kind of hits a lot of people to the core. But if you're in it together, you're in it together. And so I believe that if you're having a honest and open relationship, it should be honest and open in all
Should be.
areas.
Should be.
So no, I don't agree with that.
Okay, viewers, what do y'all think? We ain't gonna talk on y'all. Do you believe
Yes.
it's okay, ladies? Do you believe it's okay to have a little nest egg aside just in case?
And I wonder if you were to ask if people, I don't know that people be honest with us, but if you were to ask how many, this is the one time I'd go out on the limb and say more females would do this more than males.
There's plenty of times you can say that.
Yes.
Cheryl, you didn't lose your woman card a little while. You just
No,
pretending
just
to still
last
be there.
week. Just last week.
Listen, you
But
know
I think,
you know the fairer sex. You
yes.
know how y'all mind go. You know when y'all emotions start running. Y'all,
Right.
Start
But it's
acting
not,
out on
where
that.
do you think we got this from, though, Jason? You think we just came up with it?
No, like
You
it's
know
like
who,
we
you know who
said.
tell us these things? Parents.
Right, and
Parents tell us
who
these
parents
things.
and who parents tell you that? It ain't
No,
gonna be the
the
fathers, it can be
yes.
the mothers. So
But that's not something
it's
I never
again
tell my
women.
daughter.
Right.
I would never. That's not something I
and
tell
like
my
you
daughter.
say, you understand, right? Why, but that doesn't make it right. Just because you understand it don't make it
Absolutely.
right. I understand why a poor man starving would rob somebody or steal.
Right.
I understand, but that don't make it right.
Absolutely.
So, you putting that aside, that's just like this guy with a prenup.
Right.
And then again,
because you're saying I don't trust you
Right.
to divulge all of this.
Right.
Because I don't trust you.
you're going to protect yourself. You're making
Right.
sure to protect yourself. So what's so wrong with me as a wealthy man? Made my fortune, had a bad marriage. The previous wife took me to the cleaners. I built myself back up. And I now want to secure leave something for my kids. So my new wife, she's going to be taken care of, but I got to leave something for my new wife. What's wrong with me having this conversation with my new wife and saying, while I'm dating her, now, of course not, this is going to have to be before the proposal.
Right.
Because you don't want to catch a blind side. She say yes, and then you got to slide this paper.
Right.
No, it got to be a conversation during the dating stage. What's wrong with me putting this paper forward to her and say, hey, you notice what I have, and this so-and-so do this to me. Do you object
Right.
to signing such and such? Of course.
And no, but in a situation like that, it's only fair that if you have children prior to the marriage, you want to protect your children.
Right.
And anybody you're marrying should be able to understand that. Because let's say, Jason, if you have a home, let's say you're getting married to someone who has assets. The female, let's say she has a duplex, and she has that. You say, okay, put that on rent, and you have kids from a previous marriage, and you have the home. And you say to her, okay, if something happens to me, you'll have your duplex, and this house will be for my previous children. While the wife if that's the marital home, and God forbid you pass away, the wife has to stay in that home until she passes away, while she could still have her duplexes
That's
on
right.
rent, and your children
And how fair is
will
that?
not, based on the law.
How fair
so
is
I'm
that?
saying, and that's why I understand, because sometimes you can have a conversation with the person, and you should be able to have a
Right.
conversation, and trust should be able to determine that, okay, I can trust her, that if something happens. I mean, you're marrying the woman. You should be able to trust her if something happens, that your kids' assets should be safe without a legal document.
Cheryl,
However,
however, like you say, however, we living in a real world.
yes.
And where I'm saved and I follow in God wholeheartedly, I can't swear for the other person. I cannot swear. And
You're
I
marrying
gone
the
into-
other person,
I
though.
married them, yes, but I
So
cannot
you're saying
swear.
there's still- you don't
Listen,
have that trust
I have the
still.
trust in them. But as somebody who's walked with, who's been on the other side
Yes.
and looked across the table and looked into the eyes and was sworn to, we've all been through betrayal. Whether it's in a committed relationship, whether it's in a previous marriage, whether it's whatever, and they said they will never do.
Yes.
You said you will never do,
Yes.
and you did. So
Yeah.
they're human. They're frail. Their feet are made of clay. They cannot swear for eternity, even though we like to say these things. They cannot promise eternity. They could say what they would love to do, and we have to hold them at that. But in the event, given this climate, the enemy whispers in all our ears,
Right.
and some of us fall. What happens when that person falls? I've seen divorce cases. I've seen them when they were in love and they man, it looked like heaven when I look at them.
Yes.
And then I saw them in court and I saw the devil.
Yes. The
I
same
saw
person
that
transforms.
person turn
yes.
into a devil. And I looked at them, the couple of them. Because you see these proceedings on TV. You can see
Yes.
it. And
But
what they turn into each other, what they say about each other. And remember now, they said till death do us part.
But I think if there are kids involved, then that changes the game. I definitely think children from previous marriages or previous relationships, if the person has a child, then the assets must be protected for the children.
Okay.
I strongly believe that. And this I don't think this is I mean, it would come out in a prenup, but if not a prenup, there must be some understanding that the assets of the children will be protected.
We have cases of that right here in the Bahamas, where the children, after the father passes, the new mother, she has everything.
Yes.
And she kept everything.
I've heard of stories as well.
She kept everything.
That is sad. Yeah,
That is sad.
I've heard, and the law protects that, because if she is the wife, then this is what happens, and that's what I'm saying. And well, it's up to the man to make
A will, right?
Yes.
Yes,
And we
yes,
don't
yes.
and will, it's so easy to create a will.
Yes.
It's so inexpensive to create a will, but
Yes.
yet we don't do these things.
My God, and I got to hang my head in shame. A banker told me years ago, son, create your will. Create your will. Make sure your children's straight. Make
Yes.
sure nobody fighting after you're gone.
Absolutely.
And I said, yes. I ain't do it yet.
Yeah. Death
But-
is inevitable. We have to
Yes.
plan for death.
Yes, and we say we responsible, right? But we'll continue this conversation right after we get back, and we want to hear from you guys, man.
You asked and I delivered. Island-ish is back. The podcast you guys have known to love, to like to call in, to like to interact with. We are officially back. For the ones that don't know me, this is your girl Yams. Hearing me on Mix 102.1 FM or your favorite TGF_Yams. With the 2 S's, we're back with Island-ish right here on Superior Talk. So make sure you're following the page. We're going live this Thursday, 6 p.m. Don't miss it. Follow us. It's about to get lit.
So we back. Guys, we apologize, but we're going to jump right into your comments because we do want to hear from you. We do the show for y'all. So,
Ariel says, divorce is a tricky thing, but prenups usually stipulate things like if the husband cheats, the wife would get more assets.
most definitely.
So prenups aren't standard across the board. They
Correct.
can be tailored to the couple. Yes.
Correct. And
Thank
that's
you
what
for
exactly what
educating
it
us.
is.
Yeah, we agree with that.
Yes.
That's for sure. And she says also, Ariel's saying a lot today. Yes, I think there should be a savings account that isn't touched or even monitored.
No, that's, see now, okay, let's continue. Let's continue
Okay.
on, 'cause we don't want to-
Leona Gardner says, no, I don't agree. Prenups are of the world's. It's all about the money. Yes. So she's saying, no, I don't agree. Prenups are of the world. It's all about the money. But if you go before God about the woman or man in your life to make them your one, prenup is not needed. And yes,
Boy,
I agree. I agree with that. I agree
Listen,
with that.
I agree only to say that God will keep you
Yes.
if the marriage doesn't work. Because it rains on the just and the unjust. Death comes for everybody, and both of us could be God sent to each other today.
Right.
Tomorrow, one of us coming from hell. That's just how we change, you know.
I see what you're saying. Yes.
And yes, God may have sent that spouse to you, but that doesn't mean that your spouse or you will always strive with God.
Understandable. But all right.
Yes.
Priska says yes, people should have a nest egg set aside, both women and men. Okay, that's 2 females who said that so far. Let's see if there's any guy who believes
Jay
that.
John says, I don't really believe in the prenup. The issue is people are getting married to build a family.
Aren't getting married.
Oh, that's right. People aren't getting married to build the family on the institution of marriage. It's us against the world through the good and bad. That's true.
Absolutely.
A lot of people entering these marriages for business to secure themselves.
Yes. And that's the price you pay for listening to God.
Correct.
Leona is saying.
Correct.
Yes.
And he'll keep you. He ain't say he
Yes.
might keep your marriage, but he'll keep you.
She said most marriages are not ordained by God but by flesh. And that is so correct.
Correct.
A lot of us go to God after we choose
That's
who
right.
we want to be with, and we tell him, okay, now
Change
that
the
I've
person.
chosen,
Fix
you
that one.
fix it.
Fix
You
him,
fix
yeah.
him and
You're
you
right.
fix it.
You're right.
And she also says, yes, living in the world, in the real world, and living for God are 2 different things.
Correct.
Yes.
Most definitely. Jay John says, where's the trust? There's no trust, or there wouldn't be a need. Correct. Correct.
Yes.
Everybody out for self these days.
And Leona is saying here, so forgiveness comes into play. And I think that's when you're talking about when people do change. But it's funny, money changes people. Money changes relationships.
Yes, most definitely.
And a lot of times, you know, like they say, money is the number one cause for divorce. I know
Yep.
now statistics are changing a bit as it relates to that, but when it comes to money, people turn into monsters.
Yes.
Lovers turn into haters.
That's right.
And it becomes nasty. But if you have to resort to legality, then there's much to be considered. Priska says when love turns to hate, people become different people, just like we're saying now. Mm-hmm. You know.
Tamara Johnson says, trust got buried when she put him in the ground. So he should put things in place for his children to secure their future. Agreed.
I agree. Death brings out a side of greed in people that no one knew existed. That is so true.
So
That
true.
is so true. Oh boy. Ariel says, so Cheryl, if you get married again, will you signing a prenup to protect your assets for your children in the event you pass away before the children? I will not be divulging my personal business. Yes, but luckily my children are grown and can have their own assets, so I don't have to protect them. My children are educated and trying to earn their own assets for themselves. Yes.
Leona Gardner says, we look at things like this worldly and not biblically. True.
And I think she's talking to you, Jason. You who
said,
wants the,
yeah. But no, the thing is,
worldly
we live in the
man.
world, but we should not be of the world. But the thing is, we in the world. So we have to be wise and cunning as serpents. That's what they say, right?
Yes.
Bible said, be wise and cunning. Trust God, but be wise in all things. In all things. What's the number to call? 352-8255.
Please don't
352-8255. Ariel, I'm waiting on you. So, Ariel says, Ariel and Priska says they believe in a hidden nest egg.
It shouldn't, I believe in a nest egg, but it should not be hidden from the other person.
Listen.
It shouldn't be hidden.
That's cheating. I put that right up there with cheating because anything you got to hide from your spouse because you're supposed to be one.
Divulging in. Yes.
That's cheating.
Yes. Terrell and Leona, I want to hear how you feel about that as well.
Yes. Guys, I want guys to comment on that. Guys.
Well,
see,
I guess they're married persons. So
yeah. So tell me if you all agree
with the nest egg.
We're having a hidden nest egg because we had two women who were very bold. But I don't think those women were married. So, guys, if you're married and don't want to get any problems, don't answer that question.
Or the married females, if you, maybe they don't want to get any problems as well.
Because if they say yes, now the husband go look to say, where's this nest egg?
I could believe in something and I'm not practicing it at the moment. So just because they say they believe in it doesn't mean that it's their experience. Like we noted earlier, a lot of persons believe in prenups and are not. You believe in prenups, but you don't have a prenup.
I say I could understand why they're doing it, and because it's for grounds today. First of all, in and marriages, I don't think anything should be hidden. The prenup is not hidden. In fact, that was done before the marriage, and it was a contract that was agreed to by both of them. So, welcome to Let's Talk Caller. You're live.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
So, I just wanted to clarify with the whole having a hidden nest thing. It's not to say, it has to be hidden from the husband, but you have to remember that you have to approach that on a case-by-case basis, right? So, let's say you're with somebody, but you don't necessarily know how they manage their finances or if they manage it well. It's not necessarily you're hiding something from them. That's just having something for a rainy day. You could want to have that because you want to hide it from yourself. But that's not something that you constantly monitor or constantly look at.
Are you married in this scenario?
You can be, yes.
But
So, you said you doing this because you don't know how they manage their finances, right?
It's a case-by-case basis. It's not just a blanket approach. But me personally, I believe that's something that I would need, regardless if I'm in a relationship, married, whatever the case may be.
So why get married then? If you can't, because marriage is supposed to be a thing when you become one. All become one. Finances, debt, whatever, dreams become one. Why now is there a separation of funds?
And also, let me just add that too, Jason. The average guy in a marriage allows females to control their own savings.
Right.
So it's not that you're gonna say, this is what I have every day. You updating him. This is what I have.
Right.
Most guys don't even know what their wives have on their savings account.
I don't.
So if that's the case, then why is this a big issue then?
No,
it's a big issue because
hide it, if you have to hide it.
Exactly. If there's effort putting into it, where you have to be dishonest. If a question is asked and you have to be dishonest about it, then that is an issue.
And then another question too. Does he have access to it in case of an emergency?
Well, I think...
See, because now the issue's on if he is asked that question, do you have access to his finances in case of emergency? I'm sure you would want that, right?
No, it depends. So, of course, you're going to have your hidden savings, but that's not going to be all the money you have. You two can have a joint account where you both put money on it every month. You can have your own individual spending accounts, and then you can have your hidden account.
Why it got to be hidden?
It's not all your money.
Why does it have to be hidden? That's what I want to know.
For a day when you need it, it's not hidden because if you get divorced and you need to leave or you want to skip town, then you could use those funds.
But-
it's hidden for a rainy day for you and your husband. Or
Is it hidden from him?
Is it hidden from him?
He can know about it, but what I said in my comment was it's not something that's constantly monitored or even looked at.
I think the wording got us here because when you say hidden, that means it's like a secret. And if once you have secrets from your spouse,
Yes.
that's grounds right there for a divorce, right there.
No, not
It's-
secret, but an account with money is in it that you don't even touch. You yourself don't even touch it.
As long as he knows about it and he has access to it, if he needs to have access to it, then there's no issue.
Right.
But if he doesn't know about it and you can't tell him about it, and if a question comes up about it and you lie about it, then that is an issue.
No, I don't think that's the case. But I will say though, the access portion, I would say access with stipulation.
Well, that is something that both parties can come to an agreement
Right.
with. You have some relationships where the husband has his own account, the wife has her own account. They have a joint account that they share that takes care of expenses, and that works. So with case-by-case basis, you have once both of you agree that this is a workable solution in the marriage or in the relationship, then it's nobody else's business. But once you're not being deceitful
Correct.
about finances, and I think that's what Jason was talking about.
Correct.
Being deceitful, hiding it away.
Yeah.
You know, and we do have, it is our culture where mothers will tell their daughters, just don't let him know what you have.
Right.
Have your own money, have your own thing just in case.
Because it now leads to the question, where does the hiding stop? If you start,
What
if you
else
start
are you
with the money,
hiding?
what else can you hide? Okay, let's hide a secret relationship, a secret home. You know,
Other assets.
Where does it end? When does it stop? So everything should be divulged. Everything. That's what I believe in marriage. That's what becoming one is all about. And like Cheryl said, tailor-made, case-by-case basis. If your husband agrees, then hey, who are we to even say no? You know? So thank you so much, Ariel, for your input. We do enjoy your conversation. Call us again anytime.
Yes. Wait. Before I go though, Cheryl, you said that you wouldn't divulge.
That's what I said, yes.
I guess we can take that offline, okay? Because I really love to get more information.
Hang up the phone, please.
Thank you so much, Ariel. So, nothing hidden. Cheryl, you got a meeting with the caller afterwards.
let's get back
Take
to
it
the
offline.
topic, yes.
But anyway, so yes, nothing hidden. We ain't into that. And again, having a conversation about a prenup, it isn't. I don't think it will make or break a relationship. Because it's dependent on how it's done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just it's not a conversation, just like having a conversation about death. What do we do in the event that one of us dies?
Yes.
How do we split up? Who gets what? And
Well,
then
that's two different conversation. We will die, so we have to plan for our death. Planning for divorce is something different, just in case.
a commenter says, don't put the future of your children in no woman's hands, not even their own mother. And that is true. That is true.
Not even their own mother?
Not even their own mother. I agree with that 100%.
And wow.
That's very cool, right?
A man said that.
That's real. No.
A man said
A
that.
mother said
woman
that.
said that?
A mother said that. Not just a woman, a mother.
Interesting.
A prenup is basically insurance for an individual to protect their assets from a disingenuous person who simply entered the marriage to gain access to said assets. That's all a prenup is.
No,
You
you can't tell someone's intention. How can you tell someone is coming into the marriage to
okay, so we can't tell their intention, right?
Even if someone, no, you do have people asking for prenups from persons who are well intentioned.
No, but the thing is this: you can't tell. Just like you can't tell if your home will be destroyed by Dorian. You can't tell if you can go there and get in a car accident. You can't tell if you're going to get sick. But guess what? We have insurances for all of those.
Right.
Those are insurances to protect us in the event of
I
the
agree.
disaster.
But you're
A
entering
prenup
into a
is
honorable.
the same thing.
You cannot. Well, you don't. You are likening sickness to marriage and death. To marriage
sometimes
and
it can
all of
be.
Those things to marriage.
Sometimes it can be.
I don't agree
You
with
ask
that.
somebody, ask 70% of those women, and they would tell you their marriage was a sickness.
Anyhow, we will have to take a commercial break. We will be right back with more Let's Talk.
Greetings and welcome to Superior Talk Bahamas. My name is Yvette Swain, and I am here with the Sword Sharpeners Prayer Network. We meet every Monday at 6 p.m., where we dive into the Word of God to see what He would say to us. You are welcome to join us. That's every Monday at 6 p.m. here on Superior Talks. God bless you, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. And again, we're going to jump right into the comments because we do the show for y'all, not for us. Ariel says, regardless if you have children, regardless if your children are grown, she's saying, set something up for them, even if they're grown. Leave something for them.
Biblically, Leona is saying, I had too much to say this show. Biblically, when you get married to that man, all assets belongs to the wife.
Oh, so it almost sounds like the woman ain't got nothing. Because if all the assets belong to her, what assets she had that belongs to the husband now? She didn't say all assets belong to
both
each
of
other.
them. But I guess
she
was
stressed
saying,
the wife.
No, I guess she's saying in the event that something happens to him.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Okay, misread that.
Terrell said, no, I don't. I'd put it aside and tell him. Okay.
Oh, she's answering you.
Yes, right. Mm-hmm.
Jay John says, no hidden nothing, no hidden anything. Put everything on the table. Let me see what's going on. That's right. And then we decide. We decide what we can do with this money.
But you know,
or things, says, not just money.
Okay, yeah. She says, no, ma'am, how you don't know if they manage well.
Right.
So she's saying, no, don't hide anything.
Right. And I guess too, when she said, if she married her husband, she don't know if he managed it well, so that's why she got to put something aside. So she probably might be saying, how you don't know
if he managed it well, you get married
shouldn't
to
have married him if you don't know if he can. You did
right.
something, you jump the gun. Because if you go ahead to say, you're going to marry this man.
Some persons are better with money than others in their, because I know of relationship that the wife puts something aside. But it always, whatever she puts aside always saves them at the end of the day. It's all so in that situation, it works. It's nothing. She kind of hides it. Ooh. But at the end of the day, it's always something where when he comes and he needs it, she always has it there for him.
Right.
So it's for the relationship. So I that's why I said it's a
if it working. And the spirit leading you, continue.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
I agree with Ariel. I don't know why Cheryl Larkin brand new. What are you talking about, Cheryl?
I have no idea. Why is that comment on the screen?
No trust, just ready to run. I mean, Leona Gardner, I catch where you're coming from, But then again, a lot of us enter into this marriage contract and they didn't really know what marriage is all about. We just happy to tie the knot and counted among the number. Hey, I married too.
Yes.
So
you want to go in as two married persons, separate. You never really become one.
Correct.
And Prisca is saying this account should be secret.
Oh, no. See? Prisca, you got a problem. See, one saying it should be secret. Now the other woman come right back and answer and say transparency is the key. Let them, they have their own show.
He who finds himself a wife, he found himself with a good thing.
I agree, Leona, but that's now not every woman is a wife. When they say he who finds a wife, you got to clarify
but the Bible didn't say find a woman though.
Proverbs 31
says a wife.
Proverbs 31 gives a description of that good wife.
Right.
Lay it out right there.
Right.
So not every woman is a wife.
She's talking about a wife though in this event.
Sometimes you don't know who you marry.
And whose fault is that?
Oh, my gosh. And I'm sure many people can attest to that.
Whose fault is that? Because we get married too fast and we don't ask the right questions. We don't watch for the right things.
Yes.
And even though you can never know everything about a person before you marry them, there are some things that you should know. money is one of the main foundations of your marriage.
Listen, the
It's-
lack thereof.
I'm telling you, it's
Can
going to
kill it.
cause. Yes. So
Yes.
that you have to discuss. Lots of conversations should be held about money
And we
before
don't
you
like to have
marry
them hard
somebody.
conversations because
No.
I listened to a podcast of Dr. Miles today, and he said, when you're in love, you don't tell the truth.
Really?
You don't tell the truth. You know why?
boy.
Because telling the truth is not in your best interest.
Right.
Because you got to put your best foot forward and you
And your best-
hide the rest.
ugliness, yes.
Because you don't want to scare that person off. So it's incumbent. It's on you. It's your of top priority that you dissect, intersect, and I just lay that person right out and just observe and
Absolutely,
and
yes.
find that person to the core, because whoever you marry, that same person at the altar is the same person you can be with for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. But the thing
You have
goes,
to prepare
Jason,
yourself for that. So if
But-
they were lazy before you married them,
They'd be
that's just gonna be
lazy
a
after.
lazy woman in white at the top, at the
Absolutely.
altar. If he was stingy or cheap or bad with money before you married him,
he's gonna
be stingy, cheap guy in a tuxedo at the altar.
I think a lot of us feel like when you say I do,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
someone
Heavens
else-
open up and
yes,
now the
nothing
spirit descend on them, and
exactly.
that's the perfect
nothing
spouse.
happens.
No sir.
And the truth,
no sir.
the truth is not heard, but it will be seen.
That's right, and we can feel it.
You will,
You can
yes.
feel that.
Yes.
So
definitely.
it's the you have to have tough conversations, and a lot of us we don't want to do that because we don't want to scare them off.
Yes.
But you should have them, and also one thing he said. I mean, we're giving you all some nuggets. It's a little off the topic, but hey, this works. Say if you want to really see that person, intentionally disappoint them. Intentionally disappoint them,
Yes.
and see how they handle disappointment.
That's
That's
a
the
very good
person who
one.
you marry.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the person who you marrying. So if you see how they act during their disappointment when they can't handle, when things
Yes,
aren't going
not
their way,
Their way, yes.
that's their spouse or your future spouse.
Absolutely.
That's a little nugget I plug y'all in. Y'all can send a check. Give that to Cheryl. She need it. For-
I'll
for
take
Ariel
it,
Lim.
but then it belongs to Miles Monroe, not you.
Yeah.
His foundation at this point.
Yeah. So prenups, again, back to the topic. Prenups, I had a few comments here that I wanted to read. This one says, I absolutely think a prenup is needed. I think it's needed, especially for people who have successful businesses, assets, and properties. Especially saying that the law states that a spouse can leave with half of what they contributed to if the marriage is dissolved. You never know the true intention of a person. And that is so true. You never know the true intention of a person.
Marriage is a risk.
It is a
though.
risk. Life is a risk.
Yes, life is a risk, but marriage is even a bigger risk.
It is.
So when you commit, when you make that level of commitment, you are going blind as it relates to certain, and that's why
Trust in
trust
that
is
person.
so
Mhm.
important.
You got to know who you put
So
your trust
so
in.
yes, for a lot of persons who feel like, okay, they have their money, they have their business, and they need to protect that, especially if then you need to stay single. You
Yeah.
need to stay single. Like I said, the only time I'm a proponent of that concept is if there are children who you must
So, Cheryl,
provide for, children prior to that marriage.
So, Cheryl,
Mm-hmm.
a spouse shouldn't protect their assets if they don't have any children?
Who are you protecting it from? What are you protecting it for?
Yourself, because you're going to want to have children or a family later on, so you need to have
Then
something
your
for
family
them.
is going to be with the person you're with. So why would you want a prenup?
No, so let's, hypothetically,
Mm-hmm.
the person doesn't have any children, even if they do have a child for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go off real cases. We see athletes, $100 million net worth.
Right.
They get connected with these ladies. She dropped one child for him, stays with him for 1-2 years, and now she's entitled to half of his net worth. She's entitled to half for having one child.
That's the risk you take.
No.
when
You don't
tie
have to take that
yourself to
risk.
someone.
See, because I am a high profile, I'm a target. I don't really know who's genuine.
You better figure it out.
This is where the prenup comes to help me figure it out. See, we could go with God. We could go with God, but a lot of us don't have God. So until that person comes and trusts God, and first and foremost, God is the only answer. He can help you. He will help you to find the right way to go. He'll lead you to that right person. And still, to tag that on, because we have a lot of people who don't have God. We in a real world. Guy has a lot of asset. Not even just a guy, a lady. She's built her empire. Her hair salon, her baking, her designing, whatever. And she's multi-millionaire. Now here comes these effeminate guys who were raised by their mothers. And now they feel they could go.
Wait,
they
what?
know, hold on. Let me tell you where I'm going. Now they feel
Please.
entitled, like women feel entitled. So they don't have every man supposed to protect and provide. They have this view now that mommy was taking care of me, so now this woman has to take care of me. That's where I was going. They were raised by their mother, so that's why they feel now every woman have to treat them that way. He know how to play the game. He swings her. He's all romantic and tell her everything she wants to hear. But all the while, he just wants to be taken care of. He wants a sugar mama. He's married to her. He don't want to be with her no more because he got a younger thing. He divorces her. He's entitled to half of that woman's empire. And the courts, well, maybe not Bahamian courts, but the U.S. courts they would award him that. She has to now pay alimony to him because he wasn't working because she was taking care of him. Is that right? He met her with that stuff. Is that right for him to go and take her stuff?
I'm sure in that scenario you can see exactly what the guy is about.
Yeah,
I'm saying marriage is a risk, and that's why it's so important.
Still, is it right?
that,
Is it right?
What he would have done to her, that's clearly not right.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, I still don't believe that that's a good premise for any reason for a prenup. My thing is, getting married, that's a very, very important decision. You don't just marry any and anyone. You have to be seeing through all your eyes, your ears, and everything. You have to have discernment. Something you have to pray about, and it's a risk that you take.
Life is a risk.
So while you are going to lay your head down to sleep every night with this person, be intimate, the most intimate you can be with anybody, and swear before God and man, and then you're going to say that, you have to protect something from that person. I clearly don't believe in that. Like I said before, I agree if you have children of previous entities, then you must have something in place for the children.
Another commenter says, I most definitely believe in prenups. Main reason, what's yours is yours and what's mine is mine.
Well,
I've
you
seen
just
so
stay
many
single
I've
if
seen
that's the
so many
reason.
persons, mainly men, get taken advantage of. They work their butts off for their success, and here comes the significant other who didn't even help put nothing in, and now they're getting half. That is so wrong. Then we have this one says who they don't believe in it. Both individuals are becoming one. So I believe everything, including funds, should be shared equally. It also creates in the mind of the individual not suggesting or requesting the prenup that there is a possibility that you will get a divorce later down. It is not wrong for a person to want one, but they should also take into consideration that it betters the genuineness of the relationship, which is true. Like you said, asking for it
Yes.
definitely sours the wife, takes the romance out of it.
Yes.
But, and then you have this other one that says, this is a guy saying, no, you don't believe in it because the two should become one. That was a guy. He
Right.
doesn't believe in it. Welcome to Let's Talk, caller. You are live.
Hi, good evening.
Good
Terrell
evening,
here.
Terrell.
Hi, I know this conversation about prenups maybe a reality shake-up for a lot of people because a lot of people are being broken in marriages, right? But if we're thinking about marriage the way that it was intended by God for it to be a relationship reflective of Christ and His church, when you think about that, then you say, suppose God started off by saying, suppose y'all fail me.
Right, right.
You know, suppose everything He does for us is, well, I can do this for you, but suppose, just in case, you know what I mean? So
Right.
when we think about the way God intended marriage, is the conversation related to prenup really something we should have in a Christian, we talk an ideal situation now, because
Yeah.
not all marriages
Correct.
are based
Correct.
on Christian values.
Correct.
Christians, when we walk into marriage together with someone that is God-fearing, we are God-fearing. We're both striving for God. Whether I bring something and you bring something to the marriage, the conversation related to just in case should it really happen if we
Correct.
are reflecting Christ in His church?
Exactly.
Correct. Understood. I agree.
So the reality of it is that it can happen to any of us where things may fall apart. But when those things fall apart, the fact of the matter is that Christ somewhere was not the center.
Right. Agreed.
We both, we lost our way. And so that's just my thoughts on it now. And if we get to the point where we decide, okay, as Christians, we decide we're not going to be married, then we both walk away with, you walk away with what you had, I walk away with what I have, whatever we gain within the marriage, we split. That's reasonable. But I think the the idea behind the prenup starts with the conversation prior to the marriage. Prenups happen before. And so if we're doing this what if conversation, then as Christians, then we the foundation of our marriage as well.
Most
Agreed.
definitely. I agree with you, Terrell.
Yeah, that's my contribution.
I agree.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. Thank
All
you
I've
so
been
much, Terrell.
saying-
Have a good night.
You too.
Oh, he agreed with Terrell.
Yeah, no, Cheryl.
Yeah, because Jason, because
like you
here's the
s-
bottom line. Okay, let me let you finish your thoughts.
Like you said, right? Ideally, biblically, in Christians' homes, precisely why I don't have a prenup. I said I understand why. We living in a real world.
Oh,
And a lot of people aren't saved. So we speaking to a cross section. My
Absolutely.
conversation will be different from a biblical standpoint than it would be from a worldly standpoint. Christians have a different view on life. And with Christ leading us, there won't be any divorce. So prenups definitely don't come into the conversation.
there
But
are reasons for divorce, even
no,
in Christian.
Christian, guess what? Let me tell you
relationships.
something. If you are both saved and you're both striving toward God, divorce would not be a part of the conversation, point blank. Because
Christians
Christians
can
will
get
not,
divorced.
they will always seek what God wants for the marriage.
Yes.
So definitely, God does not want divorce. So if we're going to talk that, let's talk it straight across the board. We can talk it straight across
No,
the board.
the point of the
If
matter
both
is
parties
you could
are
be
Christian and
Christians
serving God,
and you make mistakes because you're
Yes.
not perfect, and
And
there's
then
a
you're
cause
supposed to
for a
forgive.
divorce. In
Nope,
no, there's some
nope,
things,
nope.
abuse and adultery, things like that. While you
There's
can
beyond forgiveness.
while you can forgive, you don't have to remain married in that relationship. That's my strict opinion. But back to
contradicting.
what Terrell said.
contradictory.
How is that contradictory?
Because if you're Christian, then there's supposed to be forgiveness. There shouldn't be any abuse. There shouldn't be any cheating. And if you do abuse or
What
you do
I'm
cheat,
sa-
then there should be forgiveness that we work beyond it. Because
There-
Christ
there-
said that there's the
Being
want
Christian
divorce.
doesn't make you perfect.
Exactly.
And so there are Christians.
So that's why we have to have the
who
conversation
would
with
have
prenups.
committed adultery, who would have done stuff like abuse their spouses.
Yes, and
So I'm
cheated and
saying-
addictions
I'm saying
and
just
all kind of
because
stuff.
You're not Christian. May I finish? Because
Mm-hmm.
anyway, just because you are Christian doesn't mean that you are exempted from committing any of those things. Anyway, the point I was trying to make is, like Terrell said, when you get married, and I'm speaking strictly to how marriage is supposed to be. Like I would have asked Jason, I think it was last week's show or the show before, would you die for your spouse, your wife? And he said, without hesitation, yes. And so that's how every man is supposed to, that's the attitude he should have towards his wife, if you determine that you want to marry someone. So if your life will always be the most valuable thing that you have. So if you can say openly and unapologetically that you'll die for your wife, you'll give up your life, then what about your money? Your money is of lesser value, so that should not come into play. And that would be my supporting argument why I think that a prenup has no place
So then,
in a marriage. And that is my wrap up for
let
today.
me ask then, why put something in place for something aside for the kids? Why set something up
Oh, we're
for
wrapping
the
up.
kids?
You're asking
No,
me.
no,
We're not
I'm
asking
not.
any questions.
And then
You
well,
need-
anyway, you
need
could
to
say that.
just wrap
And
up.
then I want to ask, would you die for your husband, your future husband? Would you die for him?
Yeah.
Anyway, you hesitated. Anyway,
I had to think about it.
anyway. So see, and that's why I say men are the romantic ones. We are the ones who end up on the proverbial nanny part of the stick. We are villainized, marginalized, and taken advantage of. We are the ones in the courts
this
that
is
have
a
to,
wrap-up on
the ones that
prenup,
have to
or-
be quiet,
or
please,
we
while
are-
I'm doing
we
it.
are,
Let me, so I can wrap up.
Is this
See, you interrupting the wrap
this
up.
a wrap-up?
You're interrupting the wrap up, and then you can say you're talking. So anyway, we step in there automatically, having to prove that we're the innocent ones. We're never assumed innocent. So therefore, I understand why some people would want to have some kind of insurance prior to getting into the marriage. Because if you look at the climate today, you see what's out there. People aren't marrying anymore for families or for death, till death do us part. They're marrying for a come up. Now, the only way to safeguard yourself from that is to follow Jesus. Allow God to lead you to that right person. Now, if you're not going to do that, then I understand you. Secure yourself. Secure yourself by any means necessary. And a prenup is not a contract saying, okay, she or he gets nothing. It's a contract that's supposed to be agreed upon by both parties. So they sit down prior to any engagement and they discuss what will happen in the event one day they do to get a divorce. And I want to put it like this. In the Bahamas, prenups aren't automatically enforced. So you can afford to go to your Bahamians and go get your prenup. The courts will decide, look at it, and make sure that the prenup is a contract that's fair to both sides, and that both sides understood what that they signed, and that they're going to make sure it's fair to both sides. So a prenup is not really recognized automatically. But in my wrap up, I don't have one. I wouldn't get one, but I understand why it's done. So I've been glad to have you here tonight with us. And let's talk, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you for joining us tonight.